Drugs are bad, and you shouldn't do drugs. Okay, now that that's out of the way, let's look at how to build a $30 billion empire selling cocaine. Because today we're looking at how one of the world's most successful self-made billionaires, who once ranked as one of the world's 10 richest people, built an empire from the ground up. Pablo Escobar, the drug lord. At one point, Escobar was responsible for 80% of the world's cocaine and was spending $2,500 per month on rubber bands, merely to keep his stacks of cash together. He allegedly burnt $2 million one night to keep his daughter warm, and at children's parties, he filled the pinatas with cash rather than candy. The question is, how did one individual reach to that stage? And are there any lessons we can learn from this and apply to our own legal businesses or projects? Escobar had lofty goals when he was younger. He is cited as saying, "I want to be big," and he initially planned to become Colombia's president. But he dropped out of school because he didn't have the money to pay for it, and this is seen to have been a turning point in his life, as his desperation for money drove him to a life of crime. He did, however, work his way up. He began selling items, then smuggled weed, and eventually set his sights on something even bigger, the cocaine industry. After briefly working for other drug traffickers, he allegedly ordered the assassination of one of the leaders of one of those other networks so he could take his place. Escobar soon understood that there was an increasing market for cocaine in America, and although 1 gram in Colombia sold for $10, he could get $500 per gram on the beaches of Miami. So, our first takeaway from Escobar is to always be on the lookout for new opportunities and markets, as he literally boosted his net worth 50 times with one move. Escobar then began significantly growing the firm. Previously, they were using donkeys to transport coke internationally in luggage on commercial aircrafts before he took over. But under Escobar's direction, they began flying their own planes loaded with coke straight to America. They reportedly also used submarines and even mixed cocaine into legitimate products like cocoa and wine that could be chemically extracted once they arrived, meaning they were never reliant on a single channel. And so, our second lesson is about having a strong distribution network, because this is one of the main reasons of Escobar's success. Not only did this allow him to transport large amounts of his items at affordable prices, because he had so many various routes to take, but Pablo's distribution network also became a separate source of revenue for him, since it was so efficient that his competitors paid him to ship their goods for them as well. By controlling the entire supply chain in this matter, he significantly increases his earnings and gains complete control of the industry. So, speaking of control, this brings us to our third lesson from Pablo on how he meticulously managed his brand image. Everyone has a brand image, which is the sum of how you're seen and what they're involved with. Yes, despite his numerous criminal offenses, Escobar cultivated a favorable reputation among many individuals. He did this in part by spending some of his money to win over the broader population. He constructed community initiatives such as sports facilities and low-income housing. In fact, some individuals even compared him to Robin Hood. He also allegedly treated his employees very well, with plenty of incentives and no upper limit on the number of profits they might make. And while all of this may sound a little generous, cultivating this kind of brand image surely benefited him in the long run, since he had this massive network of people that depended on him and that he could trust blindly. If you could ask Pablo for guidance, he would probably encourage you to focus on the product. This is because Escobar stated that he never believed in decreasing prices to be competitive, because if the product was of sufficient quality, there was no need to sell it at a reduced price. It'd sell itself. To be fair, if the thing you're selling is actually addictive, that helps. But I believe the underlying message is to create a product that is so amazing that it can sell itself and rely on word-of-mouth advertising. It's a simple but effective business strategy. Yes, we're often more concerned with sales or marketing than with creating something exceptional in the first place. but Escobar has proved time and time again how his product is king. Yes, it's drugs, but there's a reason people were buying it from him and not from others on the streets. However, the most important lesson to draw from Escobar is to never get too comfortable and to keep hustling. It's all too easy to let your foot off the pedal once you've achieved some success. This is common among entrepreneurs, but if you have enormous ambitions like Escobar, you must always consider how to move things to the next level. What's obvious is Escobar's unwavering determination and unwavering belief that large risks produce great rewards. As you can see, Pablo did an excellent job with the 4 P's of marketing. He exhibited many conventional entrepreneurial characteristics and was somewhat of an industry innovator. However, while there are some fascinating business takeaways, we're not trying to praise criminals. So I hope this video does not inspire you to become a drug king. After all, Escobar's story concludes with him being shot. And all of that money is worthless if you're dead or in prison. However, I do hope that this video inspires you to try to build your own empire that changes the world for the better, while also making a lot of money by remembering these 5 principles. And if you want more lessons from leaders in their industries, check out some of the other videos. Be sure to like and subscribe, as we have some great episodes on the way. Thanks for watching.